We're ready for you, sister.
Okay, so how's everybody doing? Well, what a way to start the day, yes?
Yes.
So actually, Christina's lead-in is when she was talking about the house of cards, and I'm thinking about what I wanted to share with you, to start off. It was like a perfect segue into the information that I want to give you. And I know just, having been in your shoes before, especially like when I was a brand new leader in direct sales, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I've never led a team of people. I really have no idea what to do. And remember after I'd been a leader for a few years and of course made many mistakes, because that's the only way you ever learn anything, right, is to make mistakes. I remember thinking to myself at that moment, I wish I would have known then what I know now. I mean, even think about raising your children. It's kind of funny because, okay, so my kids are, raised. I've got 2 grandchildren also. So, you go through, and then I'll see, like, in today's world, people raising their children, and I'll think, oh my gosh, they're doing such a fantastic job. I wish I would have done some of those things when I was raising my kids. Or I'll see somebody doing something, and I'll be like, oh, thank goodness that I had the fortitude to not do that, when I was raising my children. So the same thing is always going to hold true for your business. And you are always, always, always going to make mistakes along the way, and that's totally okay, because you all know that's the only way you're going to learn anything. But the story that I want to share with you right now is one that I think will be very memorable for you. Obviously, it's something that you've remembered, for the past 4 years since I first met you. And this is probably the best word picture that I can provide you with that'll give you an example of when you're building a team of consultants, where your focus should be, where your amount of time should be. Because when I work with leaders, they're always like, oh my gosh, I'm so out of balance. I don't know where I should be working. And a lot of times people just kind of turn into like a hurricane, right, Chrissy? Where they're just like, I have no idea what I should be doing. And in this business, busy is your worst enemy. Because there's a huge difference between being busy and being productive. And so if at any point you hear yourself saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, that should be like a huge red flag to you. Because to be effective in this business, it is not going to take busyness. Okay? Busyness is not good. So I'm hoping that this weekend we're going to be able to teach you how to be the most productive. So here's the little story that I want you to imagine. I actually want you to envision right now that in your left hand, here, give me that pink thing.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You need the, oh, good. Bucket for the bucket.
Okay, so I want you to all imagine that in your left hand, you're holding a bucket. Okay, so as soon as you become a consultant with us, if you're somebody that is like, you know what, I really would like to share this business with other people, because you can see the power that this business has, you can see the lives that it can touch for a variety of different reasons. So you go and you do your first couple of shows, whatever, you're having a great time, and you reach out and you recruit somebody and you put them in your bucket. And you recruit somebody else and you put them in your bucket. So you're really busy, not busy bad, but as a consultant, you're reaching out, you're doing shows, you're selling rock crocks, you're touching lives, you're recruiting people, and these people are going into your bucket. Okay, so that's a real good thing. Now what happens is you become a director. Okay, you become a director and you're like, oh, I have this team. You've built relationships with them, you love these people, and you're like, oh, I just love my team so much. And then what happens is you realize, uh-oh, there's a hole in the bottom of my pail. Because all of a sudden team members become disengaged, life happens, they stopped working, or maybe they got started for different reasons. Maybe they got started because they just wanted the kit. Maybe they got started because they just wanted to try it. See, your viewpoint is different because you've been recruiting, and so your viewpoint of the business is probably more to you personally than it is to them. So people start to fall out of the bucket. So here's the biggest mistake somebody who leads a team makes, is they all of a sudden put their hand underneath the bucket because you're trying to hold everybody in. So you're spending so much time holding these people in because they want to quit. And you're like, but I don't want you to quit because I want you to want this business so bad, and I know what this business can do for you, and I just want you to stay here. Just stay here. Don't leave. And before you know it, the first thing that happens is your personal business completely falls apart. All of a sudden you wake up one day and you don't have shows on your calendar. You wake up one day and you're like, what happened? I used to be able to recruit. You wake up one day and you're like, oh my gosh, I am so overwhelmed because now I've got to start over again. And you're like, I don't even know where to start, and do I even have the energy to be able to put into this? And see, the mistake you made is, remember at the beginning, this hand was doing this constantly? What happened was you stopped doing what you need to do to be successful in this business. This hand stopped because you went here, that then caused you to go here. And I'm going to tell you, there's not a single director in face the earth that hasn't made this mistake.
I know, like, get out of my head. You don't know me.
Yeah.
Like, it
So,
was too scary.
so
Like,
if you've made this mistake,
yes.
it's totally okay. Here's what I want you to do right now. Here's what you need to do. Your hand that's under your pail, I want you to pull it out. Pull your hand away and let them drop. Let those people drop. Because this hand that's been holding them
Needs to keep going.
do this. And here's the thing. By doing this, this is the best possible thing you can do. So here's what I'm going to teach you this weekend. I'm going to teach you how to do more of this comfortably, confidently, so that you're feeling really good about it. And then I'm going to teach you how, when you're recruiting, I'm going to teach you how to recruit the right way, because guys, there's a right way and a wrong way. Okay? I'm going to teach you how to do it the right way, so that when you're putting people in, you're going to help them get off to a strong start. And I'm going to teach you how to do that too. And so you're going to be putting these people in, and you're going to be so busy doing this that the ones that fall out of the bottom occasionally, you don't even notice, because you're like this. Okay? This is all you're doing. Oh, one popped out. One popped. Doesn't matter. Because we're so busy doing this. And see, what happens is, when you're doing this and they're in here and you've started them well, they start to turn into like these fat, chubby, healthy consultants. And here's what happens to your team. You've got all these plump, wonderful people that it clogs up the hole. And so you have fewer. Just the skinny, weak ones slip out the bottom every once in a while. But you've got these chubby, great ones in there. And so that's what you need to do. So anytime as soon as you've got these people on your team, and you're talking to Christine, you're talking to Kim, you're like, I'm super busy, and you are spending so much time focusing on these people that your eyes can't go to the new people, because here's where you're focusing. So you may have heard me say before that, I mean, really, I hate to say this, but it's the honest God truth. It's such a numbers game, this business is, because you're going to add 10 people to your team, and literally half of them are going to do nothing. I don't care how amazing of a person you are, how great you build relationships, what a wonderful trainer you are, how great the team meetings are. 50% of the people you add to your team are going to fall out of the bottom. So you just need to accept that. And it has nothing to do with you. Okay, and it's not even 50% of the people you recruit. It's 50% of the people that come onto your team, whether you recruit them or not. So why in the world are you going to put your focus on those 5 that were just like meant to fall out the hole? Okay, so 50%. You bring in 10, 5 of them, life is gonna happen, they're gonna do their own thing. 4 of them are gonna do 1 to 2 shows per month. 1 of them is gonna be like you. 1 of them is gonna be like you. Now you have no idea who the person is. Now here's the other thing. What I don't want you to do is when you recruit somebody, and then let's say right away you recruit him, and you're like, oh gosh, he's never gonna do anything. You know, he's just a kidnapper, or he's not doing what he should be doing to get his business. And so you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and write him off as a hole dropper. Don't do that either. You know, Nancy Jo Ryan joined Pampered Chef because she wanted to buy Christmas presents. Her intention was to never do a show. Her intention was to never build a team. Okay, so don't prejudge people immediately. But I'm going to teach you this week on how to know where you should be focusing your time, and we'll be talking about that when I teach you how to work with your brand new consultants, because part of it is your responsibility, as well. So again, you've got to really understand this whole analogy. So, think of that every single time you've got somebody, on your team. Again, out of 10, 5 are going to do nothing. So for those of you in the room that have teams that have 10 or less people,
I'm in trouble.
Okay, so what do you need to do? You need to recruit. Okay. Now, think about the people that you've shared the business with, and ask yourself, okay, am I constantly reaching out to this person? They're not coming to meetings. They're not engaged. They're not responding to my text messages. They're doing nothing on our Facebook group. They're not coming to meetings. They don't return my phone calls. They're not doing any shows. And you're like, oh my gosh, but when I recruited her, she just had the biggest reason in the world to start her business, and she's got all the reasons in the world. She's got the perfect personality. And the thing is, you're so busy trying to keep her in, and you're focusing on that, and that's really kind of a negative focus for you, because then what happens is you're like, the self-talk that goes on your head is, well, I don't even feel like sharing the business at my show, because every single time I recruit somebody, they don't do anything. So then you aren't even really doing what you need to be doing at your shows or in the follow-up afterwards, because you're like, it's not even worth the effort. Okay?
You do need to get out of my head.
So you've got to stop those self-defeating thoughts. And the thing is, you're causing them because you're focusing on the people leaving more than you're focusing on the ones coming. And the thing is, if you just kind of, again, take your hand away from the bottom of the pail and think more about, okay, I'm going to be recruiting this month. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be adding this many team members. I'm going to be helping these people. And that's where you are. Guess what? All of a sudden, you actually start recruiting more people. Okay. So I always tell everybody, how I love Target. Doesn't everybody?
I'm getting a bucket.
In the little bargain bins, they have those little pails all the time. Depending on what season of the year, you'll get them in a variety of different colors. So get one of those and put it on your desk. So when you're frustrated because somebody's quitting, or when you're frustrated because people aren't doing anything, all you need to do is look at the pail, and you know that this is what you need to be doing. Okay. So what I want to do too is, I guess, probably kind of get into your head a little bit further. Here's what I want you guys to do: is take out a clean sheet of paper and draw a line straight down the middle vertically. Now, so you've got 2 columns. On the left-hand side, I want you to think about things that you want. So just make a list of things that you want. And I'm not going to define what that means.
Okay.
I want you to define what that means. Okay, just make a list of things that you want. Left-hand column. Okay, I'm going to pause you for a second. I want, what's one thing on your list?
My husband home.
You want your husband home. Okay, sorry. What's something on your list?
Financial stability.
Financial stability. Something on your list?
Stronger for kids.
Stronger. Yours.
I want my kids to know.
Okay. What's on your list?
Less stress.
Less stress. Okay, now, the right-hand column. I want you to make a list of the things you really want. Like, really want. Think about your life. What do you really want? Right-hand column.
Yeah, right? On there.
Can they come to your first list?
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, I'm just playing the away.
Okay, so somebody tell me, what's the difference between what's in your left-hand column and what's in your right-hand column?
It's harder to know what you want.
Hard to know what you want or what you really want?
What you really want.
This gets much shorter.
What you really want?
And it's more emotion driven. There's more behind the right column. Like there's history behind it and a lot that fuels it. Like I got emotional before I even started putting pen to the paper.
What
It's
else?
just one of those things to have more materialistic,
The left list?
yeah.
Okay.
But what you really want is stuff that's harder to get to, that means a lot more than just what you have.
What's the difference?
Yeah, that's what Jen summed it up better than I would. It's things on the left hand side, and it's more people driven, you know, insubstantial things on the right hand side.
Monetary versus hot tugging.
Okay. So when you look at the lists, your right-hand column and your left-hand column, when's the last time that you wrote down things that you wanted? When's the last time that you actually sat and you wrote down some things that you wanted?
Last time I was at training with you.
I do goals, but I don't do this.
I don't even know what I thought about.
Yeah.
I want you to pull out another sheet of paper. Keep this one by you though, but I want you to pull another sheet of paper, and at the top of it I want you to write to do. And one of the things I want, this is a to-do list, we're starting it now, and I want you to add to it throughout the weekend, okay? Because when you get home, I want you to know these are the things I need to act on. Now here's the thing, it's not, these are the things I need to act on this week. These are things that you're going to act on over a period of time. You're not gonna be able to do them all at once. You've got to promise me throughout this week, and you're gonna constantly add things to your to-do list. But one of the things I want you to do is, I want you to, once a month, schedule a date with yourself where you'll do what you just did. Write down the things that you want. So whether you're gonna do it on the 1st of the month, the 15th, the last of the month, you know, the first Tuesday, whatever it is, I want you to literally schedule a date in your calendar. Maybe you set yourself up a reminder on your mobile device or something like that. And it may only take you 5 minutes. So it's not like you've got to block an hour of time or anything like that, but you owe it to yourself to keep in front of you things that you want to work toward. Because if you're not working toward something, you're going backwards. So you've always got to have something that you're working toward. Now, the list, the right and left column list, I want you to look at it. And I'm going to ask you this. What is standing in your way of the list? A couple of you said me immediately. What else? Anybody else have any other obstacles?
Fear.
Fear? Time.
What was that you said? It's straight fear of failing.
Fear of failing.
Exactly.
Now, we all have the same amount of time. We've all got 24 hours in a day, right? And we all utilize that time completely differently because we have to. I mean, all of us have lives and responsibilities and things that we're accountable for that, you know, take up, you know, our time differently. So you can never get more time. It's just, you know, how you balance that out. So the difference in achieving that list, there's a couple of different ways that you can look at the different goals that you want. You can look at them, and I make this mistake all the time. I'm going to be the first to admit. I can look at something and I can just be, in my mind, it can seem so big. And I look at it, and a lot of times my brain will instantly go to blame. I'll blame somebody else, or I'll blame my situation, or I'll blame how much time I have, or I'll blame different things. It's so easy to, when I see this big thing that I want, to start blaming other people, other things, other situations for why I don't have that. And so then it goes into almost a, well, you know what? There's really no point in putting the effort in right now because it's so big. And it's even something that you're afraid of. First of all, I don't know where to take the first step first. And then secondly, I'm afraid to take the first step because it's going to hurt if I'm not able to achieve it, you know, and I don't want to be disappointed. So here's something that I learned from the book, you know, The Slight Edge, really, is every single day we make choices, right? When you got up this morning, you literally probably made a series of different choices before you even walked out the door of your bedroom. And so it's the choices that you make on a daily basis, these little tiny choices or thought processes, they are either going to move you upward in your life or they're going to move you downward in your life. And so as you're looking at those things on your piece of paper, if you can just mentally break it down to, I just need to make sure that every single day I'm making choices that are in the right direction. And even if it's a choice that's the size of a penny, it doesn't have to be the size of a dollar bill or $100 bill, which is a lot of times what our thinking is. Oh my gosh, I've got to, you know, I have to, you know, do this. It's just think of something the size of a penny each day, like how compounding interest works, right? Don't you all wish that when we were 18, we would have started just putting a little money in savings and watched it compound? Because we'd like be all millionaires right now?
Yes.
Okay? So it's just, so I think about that whole compounding interest thing. So just the tiny little action that you take today and take a little tiny action the next day. So if you're taking those actions, those positive actions, no matter what, you guys, eventually you're going to go up. Now, is it going to happen tomorrow? Not necessarily, but you're going in the right direction. The same thing the other way. The tiny negative choices. You know what? I just don't feel like making customer care calls. You know what? I'm doing this virtual party and I could private message people and offer them the opportunity to book a party, or I could do a video, or I could do this, but you know what? It's just too much effort. I'm not going to do it. Or I'm here in a room of people and I just did a cooking show and we're having a great time, but I need to get home because Blacklist is going to be coming on and I want to watch that. So I don't be having time to do full service checkout. I got to get these people out of here. Okay, so just these little tiny, you think like insignificant choices that you're making in your business, they're either going to move you upwards or they're going to move you downwards. Now, the whole fear thing, and Kim, you probably remember we talked about this before. When I started direct sales, I had like the lowest self-esteem like you could ever even imagine possible. And it always rings, you know, from my mother was talking to me when I was in high school. High school was like horrendous time of my life. And I just hated it. And people were so mean to, I mean, like, you would not believe the mean stuff that people did to me in high school. Like, I had people that I thought were my girlfriends. Once they wrote like a hate note on a rock and threw it through the front window of my parents' home. Like drove by and threw it through, and I mean like thousands of dollars to replace the window, right? Because it was like just a massive window, and just about how much they hated me. And I was just like, so that was just like an inkling of like tiny little, and so I remember I hated it. And my mom, she would say it was like a life-changing thing. She said, Julie, what people think of you is none of your business. And I was like, you're right. It doesn't matter what somebody else thinks of me. What matters is what you think of you. And so when you take that into perspective, really, you guys, when you're struggling with booking shows, at the end of the day, it's not that people won't book with you. It's not that the home office doesn't have a great host special. It's not that our product line could be better. It's not all of these blame things that you're thinking. At the end of the day, face it, you're worried about what other people think of you. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You don't want to appear pushy. I don't want to appear greedy. Okay? So the thing is, I think it's probably a simple thing that you can substitute in your thinking. This business, like you getting a booking, you signing a new recruit, if in your head mentally, it's about you, I need more bookings. I need more people on my team. I need more income so that I can get the things on my list. If it is all about you, you're going to be stuck in this business. Because booking a show is a way that you can be of service to others. Who was it last night that was talking about the servant attitude? Right? Somebody was.
I made a comment about my dad having a servant's heart.
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
servants, okay. So when you think about the fact that you're actually giving to others, okay, so the whole thing with booking a show, shows are fun. I don't care if they're a virtual show or a cooking show, it's fun. I've been to a couple direct sales shows over the past few weeks. I hosted one myself. And I'm like, this is totally fun. You know, like what we're doing right now this weekend, getting together in fellowship with other people, it's fun. And I don't think that people do it enough anymore. I just read an article from a gentleman named Jim Turner, who actually used to be the president of Party Light Global. Okay, so he's been in the direct sales industry for a real long time. And so you know what stores are doing now? So this is kind of like a new trend that stores are doing. They're starting to make shopping more social. So you come into the store, they're setting up like social times where people can visit with one another, maybe have, you know, a beverage, different things like that. And so Jim Turner's like, So the retail world is starting to do what direct sales has done for years. They've realized that the power is in the relationships and the social atmosphere of shopping. So now retail is trending toward direct sales. And you're sitting here wondering, okay, gosh, is direct sales really going to remain forever? Or is this whole virtual thing going to take over and we're all going to end up doing things virtually eventually? I'm going to say I don't believe it for a second. I'm going to say the reason direct sales has been around for so long and the reason the cooking show is probably going to prevail over the virtual thing for years to come is because people genuinely like to get together. And I don't care how busy somebody is in their life. We have an instinctual need to get together with other people. So how awesome is it that when you're offering somebody to book a show, you're offering them a chance to get together with people that they probably haven't seen for quite a while.
We give them the excuse.
Yes. Okay. And you're teaching them something. That's one thing I love about our company is it's more of an educational experience. Like when I sold jewelry, it's like I'd schlack the jewelry out on the table and people would buy it. And there was no education. Like, I don't need to instruct you how to use a lobster claw to stick your necklace together. Like, people get that, right?
Yes.
But people don't get how to cook.
Right.
You know, or how to, you know, how to prepare a meal quickly or how to use the different tools. So you're in a unique environment where you're able to, you know, teach people a skill. You know, the host gets things completely for free, which is great for her because she might not have experienced that before. And so you take that in consideration, and at the end of the day, what's preventing you from having a full calendar is your thought process. Well, I don't want to reach out to this person. Here, I know what you do. You're like, okay, so maybe you're at work during the day and you're at work and you're like, okay, I've got to really work on, get my calendar built up. Like, it's always like this monkey on your back. And you're like, okay, my business isn't where I want it to be. And, I need to get more shows. But then you start having all these excuses that justify the reason you're not doing what you know you should be doing. Because I could sit here all day long and teach you all how to book shows, but at the end of the day, you know what to do. So I'm just going to tell you, you just need to do what you already know how to do. So you're sitting there at work, or maybe you don't have a full-time job. Maybe you're at home, and you're like, okay, I know, I've got to add more shows, and it's just like this pressure on you. So then you're like, okay, so tonight I'm going to call people. So then maybe you spend time during the day being busy. I'm going to go through all my drawing slips, or I'm going to go through my order forms, and it makes you feel good because you're like spending time on your business. But you're just being busy. You're not being productive because you just spent 2 hours doing stuff. But it's not doing the right stuff that's going to lead to results. And so here's what I used to do. I'd be like, okay, so I'm going to call people, but they need to get home from work because I can't call them when they're at work. so then it would be like, okay, so probably 5:30. 5:30 is a good time, and then I'd be like, oh, but I don't know if I want to catch them right when they're walking in the door. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until like 6. And then I go to pick up the phone. I've got this list of people I'm going to call, and I'm like, they're probably starting to cook dinner. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm going to wait till like 7 because they probably eat dinner by then. And then I'm like, oh, but you know what? Maybe they're cleaning up dinner, so I don't want them to have to answer the phone then. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm going to wait till like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Oh, they're probably giving the kids a bath. Oh, they're probably putting the kids down to bed. Oh, it's 9. You know what? It's too late to call. I'll call tomorrow.
You have been in my house.
Okay, I get it. Because I did the exact same thing. Okay, so I want you to think about right now people that are on your list, whether or not they're a past host, whether or not they're a friend or family member, whether or not, there's somebody that you know that for whatever reason, you haven't invited them to host a party. Just get one person in your head. Do you guys all have one person? Seriously, I need you to have that person's face, name in your head. Do we all have one? Okay. So I want you to imagine you're at home and a text message comes through on your phone from that person. And the text message is, hey, don't know if you know this or not, but I sell whatever the product it would be that they sell, And I just want to reach out to you to see if you want to get some friends together. Whatever. They send you a text message. Maybe you're in the middle of cooking dinner. When that text message comes across on your phone, are you going to go, well, she's totally pushy?
No.
Or let's say they called you. Would you be like, God, I can't believe she just called me. I'm making dinner right now. Or you get a private message on Facebook and somebody reaches out to you. Would you be like, I can't believe she's talking to me about wanting to book a show. Or even it's the business opportunity. But somebody that you know that you're thinking about right now reaches out to you. What's your thought process? Is it negative? Not negative in any way, shape, or form, right? Actually, I'm not going to say that this would be your thought, but I'm going to tell you what my thought would be. I would be like, oh, she thought about me. I'd be like, oh, she must like me. I'm flattered that somebody thought enough to take a moment to reach out to me. Okay? So if that's the case, why are you hung up on reaching out to people? Get out of your head. What people think about you is none of your business. It is your fear. Your fear of somebody saying, can't do it right now. Because think about it, that person reaching out to you, even if you were like, I can't do it right now. It's probably not even hard for you to say, I can't do it right now. But hey, keep me in mind in the future. Or I can't do it right now because it's something that, I don't have an interest, in that product or whatever. So what's the big deal if they tell you that? It's not a big deal. But see, you're making that mental choice, that downward choice, to let that affect you. Instead of just, moving on from there. Now, here's the thing. When somebody tells you not now, versus you taking it like it's a stake in your heart, you've got to just be like, hey, that's no big deal. And just, you guys, don't worry about being scripted. I got to tell you, and this is coming from a home office person, nothing drives me more crazy than scripts. Now, we have scripts for you online because some people we're just trying to give people an example of what to say. We're not trying to tell people this is what you should say. So it drives me crazy when people actually will take a script that we have, in PC University and think that they're supposed, no wonder people don't make contacts. They're like, I can't say that, that's totally not me. And their upline is telling them, oh, just follow the script. No, don't tell your people to follow a script. Say, there's scripts there to give you an idea of how the conversation could go, but make it you. So what I recommend is bullet points. Okay, just get a few bullet points out and then let it be your personality, because depending on how you know the person you're contacting, it's going to be different, right? Because based on their personality, you're going to meet them where they are. So really, it's the whole thinking process. There's going to be things that you're going to do in this business that are completely uncomfortable. Okay? Have any of you ever worked out in your life? Is it safe to say everybody's done at least some form of exercise?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'll go through these phases where sometimes I'm just total, beyond obsessed health workout kick. And I drive my husband crazy. And I'll be like, all right, I haven't worked out in a month, so I'm going to start today. And then I'm like, I'm going to do 300 squats. To make up for what I haven't been doing, because I feel good, right? I'm like, oh, this is awesome, effortless. And then it's hard to even sit down in a chair. And going upstairs isn't bad, but it's the coming down. Have you guys ever noticed that where you're like, oh, that was bad? And so then the next time you go to work out, the second day, it's painful, it's uncomfortable, and you just kind of work through that muscle pain a little bit, and then you do it again. So in this business, you don't want to do like Julie does when she does 300 squats to make up for what she didn't do. Versus if you just did, 50 squats a day, it's going to be a much better thing. So because you're putting off different things. And a lot of it, I know you guys, it's the time factor. But how much time does it really take to send some text messages or private message or pick up the telephone? I mean, think about it. If you reached out to 2 people per day, if you were just like, I'm going to reach out to 2 people per day for the purpose of whether it's booking or recruiting, and then I'm going to reach out to 2 team members per day, or maybe 1 team member per day. So maybe it's 3 contacts per day. If you just did that every day over a month, and we're talking, this could be like 10 minutes of time, right? By the end of the month, you would have made 60 contacts for booking and recruiting. And for members on your team, you would have touched 1 person every single day. And that's that little tiny thing that's moving you upwards. So don't focus on, I don't have time, I'm too busy, I'm fearful, this is gonna be uncomfortable. See, that's what you're thinking about. You're like, oh, I hate the phone, I don't wanna pick up the phone. Well, guess what? What you think is what you get. So if you think you hate the phone, guess what?
You do.
Instead, if you think, I'm looking forward to reaching out to this person because who knows, just the fact that I sent them a text message could potentially make their day. They could potentially go, oh, that pampered chef lady thought about me. Maybe they were down in the dumps and your text message, hey, it was great meeting you, is like a huge lift for them for that day. And instead, you're sitting there thinking about the fact that you're thinking you're going to be pushy. Okay? So it's all in your perception. That's the difference between you having success. And I think a lot of people think there's got to be some magic ingredient. Oh, well, this is why so-and-so has a full calendar, or this is why so-and-so has a huge team of consultants. The difference between them and you isn't that they've been in the business for 20 years and you've been in the business for 3 months. It's their thought process versus your thought process. So the great news for you is every single day you've got the choice, of where you're going to take your business. Now, Kim and Christina are familiar with, I'm going to share with you some information. Now, Sue, you're the one that they gave the book The Slight Edge to, right? Okay, so I pulled together some notes. By the way, this, I highly, to-do list right now. Everybody write down, order The Slight Edge. It's written by a gentleman called Jeff Olson. That's already on your list. You got the book?
I just started reading it this morning. You're my miracle morning.
Okay.
I was going to say, it's in my Kindle.
Okay, good. So the thing is,
She's like Slight Edge. I'm like,
I've literally read the book. Okay, I can't even tell you how many times I've read the book in my life, but just this year alone, I've read it 3 times. So it's one of those books that you'll constantly refer to, and it's a great one to constantly remind you about different things. But I just want to share with you right now some of my thoughts about the book, because I'm really glad that we're kind of starting today with this thought process, because anything we continue to share with you from this point forward is just, I want you to always kind of come back to, okay, do I have the slight edge thinking? And what's great about the slight edge thinking is, even though we're here talking about our businesses, you can apply this to every single area of your life. So you can apply it toward your relationship with your spouse, or with your children, or with those that you work, or to your health, or anything. So it's literally a life-changing book, and it's actually a quick read. So I want to talk with you about the slight edge philosophy. I don't know why this weekend I'm having such a hard time. Have you noticed how many times I've cleaned my glasses?
you need to know us.
I know, I just didn't bring it with me. I have it.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I think it's my car.
I
Yeah.
got
I
one
don't
in
know
my
what my
car too.
deal is.
Seriously?
Yeah, because I'm cleaning it with this and it's attracting more gunk.
Yeah.
Either that or I'm just like greasy. I don't know.
Can you send the author's name again?
Jeff Olson. Jeff Olson. Okay, so really, the slight edge, love you. philosophy is all about changing the way you think. And see, the thing is, I think there's so many things in our life that we have no control over. You know, look at, you with your sister, right? You have no control over that. And Stacy had no control over, this situation with, your daughter, Carly. So there's things we can control, and there's things that we just flat out can't control. But your thinking, the way you choose to look at things, you've got total control of. So that's the good news. And so, once you change the way that you think, you're naturally going to take the steps that you need to take that are going to lead you to the how-tos that you need to do. And so, if you don't change your thinking, no amount of how-tos are going to give you any kind of solution. And it's funny because it's not the hows, it's how you do the hows. Okay? For example, you can think about your business all day and you can know exactly what you need to do in order to fill your calendar or maybe grow your team. But you have to realize that the knowledge of what to do, just because you know how to do it, it's not going to take you any closer to the results. You've got to change your thinking so that you can focus on actually doing what you already know. So the reason diets and other how-tos don't work for most people is the same reason most how-to books and courses don't work for most people. It isn't that their actions are wrong, it's that people don't keep doing them. It's not that you're doing the wrong thing. It's that somewhere along the line, you stop doing it. See, at the beginning, it's your focus. So because it's your focus, you're doing it. And then all of a sudden, you just stop doing it for whatever reason. Okay? So let's talk about the slight edge. Over the years, I've really seen a lot of amazing consultants simply that have given up on their business because they didn't feel like they were getting results fast enough. And they're the ones that wanted instant gratification. So this is going to kind of go on with my squat analogy, right? Instead of making 2 contacts per day consistently, they go for weeks without making a contact and then sit down one day and make 50 and then be upset that those 50 contacts didn't yield 10 bookings immediately. Your first thought is, nobody wants to book a show with me. And that's what your consultants are telling you too. Mm-hmm. Because instead of doing something little consistently, they're hammering it all in one day. And so what happens is, in reality, the small habit of making 2 contacts per day would have been not only easier, but would be a more enjoyable process. And what happens is, when you're doing just a little per day, you don't appear desperate. See, a lot of you, what happens is you're like, I got shows lined up in my October. I got 8 shows on my calendar. I'm good. I can take, the next week and a half off in September, and I don't have to make contacts because I'm already loaded up for October. So you stop doing the consistent thing of making contacts. Then what happens? A hurricane totally comes, and now you have no shows. Now what? What's your plan B? Okay? Never get comfortable with your calendar. If you've got a calendar of full shows and you're like, I cannot add another single show in October, do it anyway. Well, where am I going to put that show? Trust me, a show's going to cancel. It always does. Or what I used to do is I would double book my dates. And here's what I would do. Like on my calendar, when somebody would book a show with me, if I knew that they were like on it, like invite, because I would communicate with my hosts, right? So I know who is making contacts. I know how they're inviting their guests or if they're doing it. My solid hosts, I'd put a star next to their name and be like, she's solid. My iffy ones, And a lot of times you know your iffy ones right away, like at the time of booking. Like if you had to like really convince them to book, oh no, you should really do it, I promise you, you know, it's gonna be easy. And they're like, eh. They're iffy, right? My iffy one's no star. So if I'm at a show, if I've got like 10 shows on October, and 6 of them are solid, and I'm at a September show, I'm still focusing on booking my October, even though I'm full, because I don't have 10 solid ones. So what I'm gonna do is I meet her, she wants to book a show, and I'm like, well, how about October 16th? Same date as one of my iffy people. Now I got 2 shows on the 16th. Ooh, what a predicament. Worst case scenario, if both shows hold, now what I do is I call Kim, who's one of my aspiring directors. She's not somebody on my team that needs a show. She's somebody on my team that's a worker. So I call Kim and I say, Kim, here's the deal. Do you have any shows lined up on October 16th? And she says no. And I said, well, I'm double booked for that date. I'll tell you what. I want you to make some contacts and add 2 shows to your calendar. And then call me back right after you do that. And as soon as when you do that, I'm gonna give you a show on the 16th. And she's like, all right. So I give her some motivation. She adds shows to her calendar, and I give her the show on the 16th. I don't just give her the show on the 16th. I had to work for it, sister, so are you. That's what a leader does.